Hi, everybody. My name is Wendy, and I'm going to be teaching an all-level mat class today here at Studio Blue. As we go through the class, should anything feel uncomfortable or painful, feel free to find a modification that feels more appropriate for what's going on with your body. We want to have a safe, fun movement experience, and so we'll just stay away from those painful areas. We're going to start standing today, so you're going to go ahead and place your feet so they're about as wide as your hip bones, toes ideally pointing about straight ahead. If they slightly turn out, that's okay. And just take a moment just feeling your feet against the floor. If you're standing on a mat, that's fine as well. Feeling a little bit of pressure down through your big toe, little toe, and center of the heel. So from here, you're going to go ahead and just rock forward. So you're taking a little more weight through the balls of the feet and toes, and then rocking back into your heels. And so while you rock forward and back, try to keep the feet on the floor. And noticing also what goes on with the rest of the body as you rock forward and back. I notice that when I rock forward, I feel a little tightening around my abdominal wall there, kind of in preparation of a larger movement. And I feel that soften when I rock back into my heel. Let's go ahead and just do one more there, rocking forward and rocking back. And go ahead and center your weight over your ankles. Now we're going to do a little shifting from side to side. So you still want to keep your feet level against the floor. And as you do this one, noticing if there's one side that feels very familiar and comfortable to you. Sometimes we spend a lot more time standing through one leg than we do the other. And again, noticing what's happening higher up through your body. You might feel a little engagement around your knees. Again, a little bit through your core. And we'll just go one more time to the left, and then you can go ahead and center yourself. And so from here, we're going to go ahead and so you take a nice inhale in through the nose. Just allow the shoulders to start to slide up towards the ears. And as you exhale out through the mouth, just let the shoulders slide down. And inhale as I slide up, feeling the shoulder blades slide up along the ribs, and then feeling them slowly slide down. And so when you go up, we're not cranking them as high as you can go. And when you lower down, don't shove them all the way down. Inhale to take them up, and exhale to glide them down. We'll do one more like that. Inhale and exhale. So now from here, you're going to go ahead and take the arms straight out in front of you, palms facing one another, about shoulder width. And if you want to bend the knees here a little bit, you can. So now you're going to reach forward, and so you want to feel your shoulder blades slide towards the sides of the ribs. And then you're going to retract back, meaning you're going to go ahead and slide those shoulder blades back in towards the spine, almost like you're trying to close the shoulder blades like elevator doors. And again, inhale to glide forward, and exhale to retract back. See if you can keep the trunk itself nice and still, including the neck and head still in place. And so you're really just isolating the movement of the shoulder blades. And that movement of the shoulder blades kind of moves the position of the arm slightly. Go ahead and just do one more there. And reaching forward. We're going to do a little warming up of the backs of the shoulders and mid-back. And so from here, I'm just going to go ahead and draw my arms out to a T and gently pull them back just a little bit more and squeeze my shoulder blades together, being careful not to let my rib cage pop forward or my chin project forward. And then from here, I'm going to come back together. I'm going to press my palms together momentarily. And then again, taking them back, shoulder blades draw towards one another, feeling the backs of the shoulders in between the shoulder blades work. And press and exhale and open. And inhale and press. Do one more like that, and then we're going to do it at a slightly different angle. So now we're going to come down at a low V. Again, my palms are shining straight ahead, and I'm still going a little bit back behind myself, and then coming forward. Again, watchful that the rib cage doesn't pop forward and back as you do it. You should be starting to feel just a little warming just back behind the shoulder on the shoulder blade in between them. And if your range of motion doesn't look similar to mine, that's totally okay. Just stay in a comfortable range that feels right for you. Now we're going to go up to a high V. I'm going to take my hands up a little bit, and then taking my arms up and back slightly, and then coming down. Good. Still feeling for the backs of the shoulders and slightly between the blades working. Couple more like that. And now we're going to kind of alternate between the three. So we're going to go out to the sides, together, low, together, high, together, out to the side, low V, high V. One more round out to the side, low V, and high V. And bringing the arms on down. Take a moment, circle your arms up and all the way around. And again, one more time, taking them up and circling them around. This time you're going to take your fingertips onto your shoulders and then pull the elbows back a little bit. Take a little bend of the knees. And now we're going to go ahead and do a little side bend to the right. So as you tip to the right, you want to take your head width. So you're not looking down, you're not trying to keep your head upright. Kind of like you're letting the contents of the head fall out over the shoulder. And then bringing yourself back upright. And let's inhale to take it up and over to the left. And exhale, center yourself. So my legs and pelvis are staying nice and still. And the movement is occurring through the lumbar and higher up through the thoracic. Through the upper lumbar, I should say. Go ahead and go one more to the left, and we're going to change it up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and side bend to the right, and then we're going to go ahead and keep our hips level, but start to rotate and lower that top elbow down like you're going to try and touch that bottom elbow, even though they won't. And then open it back up and come upright. And over to the other side. And so our upper body rotates, kind of like you've been sucked in the gut there. And then opening up and bring it upright. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale, tall. One more time. And rotate and lift. And then let it all come down. All right, taking it into a couple standing roll downs. You're going to go ahead and first let the chin nod towards the Adam's apple. The head's going to come forward of the body. And then the neck, the shoulders, and segmentally just feeling each piece round over bone by bone. If you need to bend the knees to keep a comfortable spine, feel free to. There's a moment where you want to feel your pelvis tip over your femur heads, allowing your sit bones to widen and the hamstrings to stretch. Feel the spine just kind of traction and lengthen down towards the floor with a heavy head. Take an inhale. And exhale, lift the low belly, tip the tail under, pressing through the feet to assist rolling on up. Head should be the last thing to arrive. Inhale. And exhale, nodding the chin, head forward, neck, shoulders, scooping through the upper abdominals to round through the mid-back, rolling through the low back. And again, feel for that moment where the pelvis tips over the thigh bones. Notice how your sit bones widen and the front of the hips crease. Take a nice deep breath, allowing space between the bones. And then exhale, rolling it back up. If you need assistance on the way up, you can always take your hands onto your thighs and push down into your thighs to help you come up. Take an inhale here and exhale. This time we'll take it all the way down. Once your hands arrive at the floor, you're going to go ahead and walk the hands forward and lower yourselves down onto your hands and knees. So very similar action to what we did previously with the arms out in front. You're going to go ahead and allow your shoulder blades to slide towards one another. And then by pushing straight down through the hands, standing through your arms like pillars, you're going to go ahead and slide the shoulder blades wide. And so it feels like the spine surfaces back up. And so inhale to sink and exhale and press. Go ahead and do a few more of those. Feeling a nice long line out through your tail and out through the crown of the head. And feeling that your ears fall in line with the spine. The next time you press down, also press down through your knees, and let's round the spine up into a Halloween cat. And then the tail's going to lengthen back as you let your spine sink a little bit between the shoulder blades as the chest pulls through into your extension. And exhale, press down through the knees and hands to round. And inhale and extend. Just getting some nice flowing movement through the spine. Again, moving at a range that feels comfortable for your own body. And let's go ahead and just do one more. Exhale, round, and then from here we'll find, again, a nice long neutral position where the tail feels like it's reaching straight back, crown of the head feels like it's reaching straight forward, bringing the ears in line with the spine. From here, you're going to go ahead and keep the rib cage on up to the head nice and still, but go ahead and let your tail swing to the right while keeping your knees and feet still on the floor, and then bring it back to center, and then swing your tail to the left and bring it back to center. And so you're just getting a little side bend through your low back and taking the tail from one side of the room to the other. We can start to add the upper body. So as the tail goes left, you're going to go ahead and let the crown of the head also reach to the left. So that right side really opens up. And then inhaling center, exhale, tail and crown of the head go to the right. Feeling that left side stretch and center. A couple more from side to side there. And go ahead and bring it back to center. And now from here, walking your knees in a little closer to your hands and sitting back either onto your heels. If that's not comfortable on your knees, you can be up a little bit, but just taking a little bit of weight out of the hands here. So now from here, you're going to go ahead and place your hand either behind the head. If that's not comfortable in the shoulder, then you can always take the back of the hand to your forehead. Now from here, as my hips stay nice and still, I'm going to go ahead and just start to rotate to the right. I have my right hand behind my head. And then I'm going to rotate towards the inside of my left arm. I'm getting a little bit of work through the mid-back muscles, in mobilizing and strengthening. And let's go ahead and just do one more here. And let's go ahead and step the right hand down. And now taking the left hand either behind the head or back of hand to forehead, whatever feels more appropriate. And then from here, starting to rotate towards the left. That right hand can push slightly down and forward to assist. And then rotating towards the inside of that right arm. And rotating away. And rotating in. Inhale, rotate right. And exhale, rotate left. One more time here. I feel like I might sneeze. I apologize if I do so right into the mic. And then you're going to go ahead and set the hand down. All right, let's go ahead and take a seat, coming up towards the front of the mat. You can take your hands back behind your thighs and sit up nice and tall. And so from here, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you're going to start to curl your sit bones under, like you're reaching them for your heels. Notice when you do that, the low abdominal scoop. And you're just going to round back until the elbows are straight. And we want to keep a fairly neutral head and neck position. So again, we want to try to resist the projecting forward of the head or trying to take a load of the head forward. So low belly scooped. See if you can remove the hands from the backs of the thighs. And then we're just going to take a couple pulses here. So you're going to go ahead and inhale, almost begin as if you're rolling back a little bit further. And then exhale, scooping through the belly to come up. Inhaling back about an inch. Exhale, scooping up. Trying to feel that scoop happen through the low abdominals as opposed to just hinging right at the hip joint. Think of the feet staying heavy and spread into the floor. And arms nice and light on the back. We're just going to do one more like that. And then you're going to aim your nose between the knees like you're rolling into a tighter ball. And then inhale, stacking up nice and tall. On your exhale, again, curl the sit bones under, rounding back. So this time we're going to go ahead and rotate the upper body a little bit to the right. As you rotate right, without actually pulling your right knee in a little bit, just think of engaging that inner thigh a little more so you get a little bit more connection to your obliques. Inhale, center. Exhale, when you rotate left, squeeze slightly in with that left inner thigh. Inhale, center. Exhale, rotating right. Inhale, center. And exhale, rotating left. Let's do one more each way. Exhale as you rotate. Inhale and exhale and twist. Come to center, and then again, dive the nose between the knees and stack it up tall. Inhale here, exhale. This time you're gonna go ahead, round back again, making sure it's a place where you can support it from the abdominals. Allowing your shoulder blades to glide easy on those ribs, just go ahead and take one arm up and bringing it down. So as you take an arm up, if you notice your head wanting to pull forward, don't go as high. Find a range where you can support yourself with your abdominals without trying to take part of your body forward in order to decrease some of the load on the abs. Let's try one with both arms. Again, stay at a range that's successful for you. Inhale and exhale. We dive the nose between the knees. Stack it up nice and tall. This time, exhale, start to curl the sit bones under. And as you're rolling back, just feeling each vertebra come in contact with the floor. And rolling all the way down. Once the head arrives on the mat, walk your feet in close to your hips, sit bone distance with the heels. Now very gently press back into the floor through the palms, backs of arms, and backs of shoulders. Take an inhale, and exhale, you're gonna tip your pelvis towards your rib cage so the low back imprints. And now you're just gonna take a breath or two maintaining that imprint. So you can just feel that it's your abdominals that's pressing the low back down. If you feel like you're gripping through the glutes, see if you can let them soften and widen a little. And then on your next exhale, start to roll the hips up off the floor, maintaining that sense of imprint as you roll further up into the bridge. And so we're definitely using the backs of our thighs and backs of our hips to lift without letting the spine extend and pop the ribs forward. Inhale at the top of your bridge, exhale, start to soften the breastbone back and begin rolling on down and through, all the way back to neutral. Take an inhale, and again, exhale, tipping the pelvis, rolling on up. Inhaling here, and exhale, soften through the breastbone, rolling all the way back down. Inhale and exhale. Let's go ahead and start to add some variation. So when you're at the top of your bridge, let's take the arms up and over onto the floor back behind you. If side by side to the ears is uncomfortable on your shoulders, allow the arms to widen a little bit. Now imagine your knees and your fingertips reaching oppositionally away from one another. Keep that oppositional reach as the breastbone softens back. And as each rib rolls down and each vertebra rolls down, and the tail is the last thing to arrive. Let's inhale the arms back down next to the sides. Inhale and exhale, rolling it back up. Once again, we'll inhale the arms overhead. Feel that reach from fingertips to knees. Exhale, soften through the breastbone, rolling, rolling all the way down. Once the hips are down, we're gonna slide our hands back behind our heads, interlacing the fingers, and bringing your elbows just slightly forward there. So now from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine an upper abdominal curl and a bridge. So you're gonna exhale, start to nod the chin and roll the head and shoulder blades up. But now right from here, you're gonna start to curl the hips up. So as the hips curl up, that rolls the head and shoulders back down into the floor. Now the opposite is gonna happen when we roll down. So we soften through the breastbone, and as the hips begin rolling down, our head and shoulders are already rolling up. And hips roll up, bringing the head and shoulders back down into the floor. Inhaling at the top. Exhale, soften through the breastbone. As the hips roll down, the head and shoulders are already rolling up. We'll try a couple more like that. Sometimes it kind of helps you move through some tougher spots in the spine. I find that I'm kind of inching my way further back on the mat as I do them. One last one. As the hips roll up, it rolls the head and shoulders back, inhaling at the top. And exhale, soften through the breastbone as the hips roll down, the head and shoulders come up. I'm going to scoot myself down just a tad. You're going to roll your head and shoulders down. And then let's go ahead and one at a time take the legs up to a tabletop position. I'm going to reach my arms on up to the ceiling and take an inhale. And as you exhale, let's nod the chin, press down through the palms and round the head and shoulder blades up. Take a moment to grab the hold of the backs of the thighs and use the strength of your arms to come up a little bit higher above those blades. So you're in a position where the neck has a little bit less strain. And then from here, abdominals pull in as we release the backs of the thighs, and then lowering it back down with control. And again, exhale, rounding up. Now I'm going to kind of keep just rounding up and controlling back down. If you feel like you want to take a moment to grab the thighs and adjust your position between each one, feel free to. Inhaling to take it down. Exhale, rounding up. Inhaling down. And exhale. Let's go ahead and do two more. And last one. Take a moment, hug the knees in, let your head turn a little bit from side to side, getting tension out of the neck. We're going to add a little bit of obliques and rotation on the next one. And so from here, legs going back to tabletop. You also have the option of placing your hands behind your head on these if you prefer to. So from here, as I roll up, I'm going to go ahead and take both of my hands to the outside of my right thigh. So I'm rotating a little to the right, and my left side of the rib cage is a little bit more off the floor. I'm going to bring it through center and then take it over to the other side. So I inhale, pass through center, exhale over to the right. Inhale, trying to stay above the shoulder blades. Exhale right or to the left. Inhaling center and exhale. Just noticing how the weight shifts through the ribs a little bit. And let's go ahead and take it over to the left and center, and then rolling on down. And again, just gently let that head turn from side to side. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and let the thighs move back out to a tabletop position, taking the arms either to a T or to a goal post position if you find you don't have room where you're at. We do want to try and have those ribs softening into the floor and having a comfortable range for your shoulders. So from here, as I keep my low back slightly imprinted into the floor, I'm going to let my knees shift to the right, so my left hip lifts, and then my left side of the waistline comes up as well, but I'm going to keep that left shoulder blade reaching back for the ground. And then exhale, trying to use my waistline and my right inner thigh to carry it center. Inhaling, same thing the other side, and then exhale to bring it back. So it's not a big, stretchy spine twist. It's more about finding an oblique and an abdominal connection. You also might feel that your upper back extensors and shoulder muscles working a little bit too, and trying to keep that shoulder reaching back for the floor. Let's go ahead and do one more from side to side. And center. All right, again, feel your top of sacrum and low back ribs down against the mat. Draw the arms on up to the ceiling, allowing your shoulders to stay soft and open. So you're going to try to keep this position with your trunk. As you exhale, start to lower your right toes for the floor, and then inhale to bring it up. And exhale, left toes for the floor, and inhale, lift. So hopefully feeling that increase in abdominal work, having to use more tone the closer the foot gets to the floor. Now, if you want to make this more challenging, you can try taking the arms a little more overhead, but still making sure that your low back ribs don't lift away from the mat. And you can also start reaching your toes further away from you. So the further away from our center we take our limbs, the more the work is going to be on our center to stabilize. Let's go ahead and do one more on each side. And then take a hand onto each knee and then just stir the thighs around for a moment. So each leg gets to go in an individual circle. And then go ahead and reverse that. Now from here, the hands are going to go behind the thighs. You're going to nod your chin, roll your head and shoulder blades up off the floor. Now, keeping the alignment of the arms, so you kind of keep this shape. You're going to start to push the backs of the thighs into the hands so it peels your head and shoulders up more. Take an inhale and then exhale. Keep pressing them into the hands and see if you can tip yourself up to a seated position. All right, once up to your seated position, let's go ahead and lengthen the legs out nice and long. We're going to do some roll downs. If you have a prop that you prefer to use with them, whether it's hand weights or a little pad or towel for the low back to imprint into, feel free to grab that. So seated tall, let's first go ahead and start to curl the sit bones under. And as you're rolling back, reach the backs of your thighs into the floor. Letting the spine feel the floor one bone at a time, taking the arms overhead. Inhale the arms back up to the ceiling and exhale, peeling back up. Let's overshoot this one like you're rounding your spine over a beach ball. We'll stack up between each one and then exhale, sit bones curl, rolling it back down. Inhaling arms to the ceiling, exhale, peel it up. Inhaling up and over, and then stack it up nice and tall. And scoop those sit bones under, rounding back. When the arms go overhead, making sure the ribs don't lift away from the mat. Inhale the arms back up to the ceiling, and exhale. Reach up and over, stack up nice and tall. We're going to do a couple a little bit differently here. In fact, you can take your legs a little bit wider. So you're going to go ahead and let yourself rotate basically just in line with your right leg. And then start to curl your sit bones under. And I want you to try to feel your right side come more into contact with the floor. So you're not rolling all the way onto the side of the body so much as just feeling the side of the spine and the side of the rib cage on that side a little more. And then you're kind of looking out at the side as well. And we're going to roll back up that side. And now we're going to go ahead and rotate a little bit to the left. So there might be a little more weight in that left hip already. And then feeling the left side of the low back, the left side of the rib cage roll into the mat a little bit more. And arms overhead. Just noticing how different it might feel from side to side. Gives you just a little more sensory awareness. That might help you. When we roll back through the middle soon, we'll go into the right now. And rolling up. And then we're going to do one more to the left, rolling down and rolling up. Let's come back to center and bring the legs a little more narrow. We'll do just one more, rolling down and rolling up. And seeing if it feels any different to you having done the two sides. All right, so from here, I'm gonna go ahead and walk my feet in nice and close and curl my sit bones under. You're gonna see if you can really put the brakes on and lower down, taking your time, feeling each vertebra pause and then press into the floor. Once you're all the way down, you're going to go ahead and draw the knees on into the chest. So we're going to do a little variation of leg circles today. So we're going to keep the left knee pulled into the chest. You can take your hands around that knee, and you're going to lengthen that right leg up towards the ceiling. If you feel discomfort in the hip joint, feel free to bend the knee, finding a little softness there. But as that left knee is hugged in, feel for the small of your back against the floor, and then think of using your abdominals a little bit to press the small of the back even more into the ground. So we're going to try to keep the small of the back against the ground as we do our leg circles. So you're going to go ahead and take an inhale first. We're going to exhale that right leg out to the side and circling around, and then inhale it up through center. So it's going to be more of an uppercase D shape than an actual circle. I'm just noticing what parts of your circle want to pull the spine away from the floor, and making sure you're using your abdominals to keep it down. Let's go one more in this direction. And then reversing. As you go down, you'll notice your low abs pulling in and around and up. And making sure that you are moving your leg at a range of motion that's comfortable in your hip joints. We'll go one more here. And around. All right, let's go ahead, and before we switch sides, let's do a quick little figure four stretch, crossing the right ankle over the left. Flex that left foot so there's less of a torque on the knee, and you're grabbing behind that left thigh to draw the legs towards you. Notice if you have one hip hiking up, and see if you can even out your pelvis and waistline. And then take a moment to see if you can allow the end of your tail to drop just a little heavier into the floor. Breathe into the stretch. Take one more inhale there. And then exhale, let's go ahead and uncross. And now you're gonna hug that right knee towards you, and we'll lengthen that left leg up. So again, feel the small of the back against the floor. Use your abdominals to press the small of the back even further into the mat. We're gonna go ahead and exhale that left leg out to the side, and then circling it around and inhaling straight up through center. And exhale and inhale. And then again, just feeling how your intra-abdominal pressure has to change in order to adjust where the leg is at in space. Now you're gonna go ahead and reverse it. So we're gonna lower it down, take it out and around and up. Notice if you're creating any tension through your mid-back or rib cage. See if you can allow that to stay a little bit softer. One more time around. So now from here, let's go ahead and step your right foot down, cross your left ankle over, foot is flexed. Draw that right thigh up, grabbing behind the right thigh with your hands. Again, double check that your waistline is equally long on both sides. Try to allow your tail to drop into the floor. Left knee is rotating open. And breathing into the stretch. If you prefer to rock a little bit from side to side on this one, you can do that. Take one more breath there. And then let's go ahead and step the feet on down. All right, so bringing your heels first really close on in towards your sit bones. You're gonna keep your left foot really close, but you're gonna step your right foot about a footprint distance forward. So from here, we're gonna be doing more of our work through our left hip in order to go up into a bridge. The right foot is basically there to help kind of steer the pelvis. So first tip your pelvis towards the rib cage, and then as you roll up, feeling that left foot really pushing down into the floor and that knee reaching forward. When you're at the top of the bridge, see if you can take a moment where you take more weight into that left foot and take a little bit more weight out of your right foot. And then center yourself slightly and then roll it on down. We'll do 2 more like that, and then we'll change it a little bit. And then rolling it up, again, feeling how that left side's doing more work. Right side, you can put a little pressure into it, especially if you notice your pelvis tipping from side to side. Can help steer it back to center. One more time here. And rolling it down. So now from here, I'm going to take my right leg to my tabletop position. So now you've only got the left foot there, so you have to be you have to work that leg as a stabilizer now too. A little tip, and then see if you can roll up into a single leg bridge, and then let the spine lead the way back down. And it's okay if you end up just having a really low bridge. Try not to arch the spine to press up into your bridge. See if you can really work those glutes and hip muscles in its place. 2 more here. And if this is too much, then you know you can modify by just stepping that foot down, doing the previous version. Rolling on down. All right, so you're going to go ahead now, step your right foot down, make sure those feet are close into your hips. Left foot's going to go forward about a footprint forward. Now this right side's got to do more work, so we're going to go ahead and tip the pelvis towards the rib cage, start to roll it on up, feeling that right foot really push into the floor and that right glute working. Left foot helps to steer and balance, and then exhale, softening and rolling down. And again, exhale, rolling it up. And start taking a moment to shift more weight into the right foot, taking a little more weight out of your left foot, and then rolling on down. We got 1 more like this before we try the single leg bridges. And rolling all the way down. So now we're going to draw that left thigh up to your tabletop position, tip the pelvis. Now you got to work that right side even more so. See if you can still keep the same form. Again, making sure that you're not thrusting by arching the spine. Feeling that right foot push into the floor, connecting you to the back of your leg and the back of your hip. 2 more like this. I love bridges. I don't know if you can't tell if you take my class regularly. And bring it on down. All right, take a moment just letting your knees rotate open, soles of feet together, allowing not just an inner thigh stretch, but maybe you can feel a little bit of that hip flexor stretch in the front of the pelvis as well. Breathing into that. And then go ahead and let the knees come back in. Let's take the arms overhead, inhale, and exhale, arms to the ceiling, rolling on up. When you get to your sticky spot, let the legs slide long and roll yourself all the way up to your seated position. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and do a little bit of spine stretch forward. So legs are going to be a little wider than the hips and pelvis. And you're going to exhale, nod the chin. We've already done a lot of flexion, so we're going to right away do a variation where we add some extension. So you're rounding here, but now start to reach forward through your fingertips and back through your tail. And so you find a long line from your tail through the fingertips. The back of the body should feel active here. And then bring yourself back up. Arms come forward and exhale, nodding the chin. Sequencing over, reach forward through the fingertips, back through the tail, stretching those hamstrings and pulling those toes back and bringing it up. Let's go ahead and do 1 more this direction. Exhale, round it over, reach the fingertips forward, reach your tail back, and then bring yourself upright. So now from here, you're going to go ahead and bring your inner thighs together. Bring your elbows down to a goal post position like so. And then feeling kind of as if you were against a wall and you're gently pushing the elbows and thumb back into that wall. So you feel a little work happening in the backs of the shoulders and between the blades. Now from here, the pelvis is going to stay nice and still against the floor. Inhale to prepare, exhale, start to rotate to the right, and inhaling center. And exhale, rotate left, inhale center. Feeling those trunk muscles move the rib cage, feeling little small spinal muscles work as well. In some aspects, this may feel a little ungratifying in that you're not going into a big, stretchy spine twist. A little smaller when we make you keep the pelvis still. Go ahead and do one more each way. After this one, we'll gotta go to the right, inhale center, and then to the left, and center. Go ahead and bring the arms down for a moment. Now go ahead and take the legs out about a little bit wider than the mat first saw. Arms are gonna go out to the sides. I'm gonna go ahead and turn to face you. So again, both sit bones stay planted into the floor. We're gonna start by rotating just like we had previously. And now you're gonna reach your left pinky for your right pinky toe. That back arm spirals under so the palm is shining to the ceiling. And now reach back through those back fingertips to help engage those upper back muscles to help bring you back upright, and then come center. And then we're gonna rotate left, both sit bones stay planted. Right pinky finger reaches for left pinky toe, back arm spirals, reach back to the back fingertips to come upright, and then center. Inhale, twist. Exhale, reach. Inhale, come up, and then unwind center. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, center. One more time. And lift upright, unwind center, rotate, and reach, and lift, and center. Go ahead and bring the arms on down. All right, so from here, let's go ahead and come on forward to all fours for a moment. And we're gonna lower down to our forearms for our cat and cow, since we did some in the beginning of class. So pressing straight down through your elbows as you round through the spine, and being on the forearms restricts some of the movement of the spine, but you might notice you get a nice stretch between the blades and in that mid back. And then when you go into your extension, pull your elbows back towards your thighs to help pull the collarbone forward and the upper chest forward. Again, exhale, rounding. And inhale, extending. And exhale and round. And inhale and extend. All right, finding neutral. And again, feeling that the ears line up with the alignment of the spine as well. And you can kind of play with that. So if you let your head drop, you can feel that your ears aren't in line with the spine. If you let your head lift, then they're not either. And so if you just kind of find that happy medium. So now from here, as we keep a little engagement to maintain the alignment of the spine, you're gonna push down through your palms to float your elbows up, and you're gonna carefully lower them back down. So we wanna be careful not to shift our hips back, because that's kind of cheating. We're just taking the weight of our body back. We're keeping our weight forward in our hands. And so hopefully you're feeling some of that tricep and serratus work here. Do a couple more, and we'll change this up, very similar to how we did variations with the bridge. To bring it up onto the hands. Now keep your right hand where it's at, and then go ahead and step your left hand back a little closer, and maybe inch your right hand a tiny bit further forward. And now you're going to lower down to your elbows here, and then push up. So you've made it a little bit weird in terms of how your weight is shifted between the arms. but life is like that. It's not very symmetrical out in the real world, so we prepare ourselves for that. One more here. And now go ahead and switch places with the hands and lower down and press and lower. And again, making sure that you're not letting your hips lean further back. That's cheating. Go ahead and do 2 more here. All right, come on to all fours. My triceps are kind of shaking here. All right, so walk your knees back a little bit now and allow your hips to move forward. Abdominals pull up, find a nice long back of the neck. Now you're just gonna go ahead and let your elbows bend about 1 inch. Hold there for a breath and let them bend another inch. Hold for a breath, bend another inch. Hold for a breath. Control yourselves all the way down to the floor. From here, you're gonna go ahead and lengthen your arms down next to your sides and just let the shoulders fall forward. Nose is just hovering above the mat. So from here, first you're gonna go ahead and move your shoulder blades towards one another, noticing that the collarbone moves away from the floor. Then float the hands up, and so they just gently push into the sides of the hips. And then float your nose and your upper chest up as if you're creasing from right below your shoulder blades. And then exhale, lower it all the way back down, including the shoulders and the arms. And so first we bring the blades together, then we float the arms up, and then we're gonna go ahead and bring the head and chest up and bring it all the way back down. And again, shoulder blades, hands, upper chest, all the way down. One more time like that. Shoulder blades, hands, and chest. Hold here. Now from here, you're gonna go ahead and rotate the arms so the palms turn down towards the floor. Bend your elbows, circling the forearm and fingertips forward so the palms are down and the fingertips are just forward of the shoulders. And then lower it on down. Now from here, you're gonna go ahead and inhale. Start to brush the nose forward, begin looking forward like you're just kind of watching something walk away from you. Start to push the hands down, feeling those triceps, abdominals are pulling up and in. And then you're gonna lower it back down. So notice when we go up on the next one, when you brush the nose forward and the chest starts to come up, then when you push through the hands, that the shoulders want to start to pull up and forward often. So try to keep your shoulder blades weighted down the back as you push to the floor. And same thing as when you lower back down. Keep those shoulder blades low. One more time. Lift. Good. All right, coming onto all fours, or not all fours, excuse me, your forearms. Elbows just only slightly forward of the shoulders. You can make little fists here. You're gonna try to keep those forearms running pretty parallel to one another. Toes are gonna curl under along the mat there. So first thing you're gonna do is start to push down through the elbows, and notice that when that happens, that the place between the shoulder blades starts to move up to the ceiling. Continue with that, continuing to roll up so the hips come up until you have a nice level line from your tail to your head. Now from here, you're gonna try to pull your mat apart with your elbows, but bunch the mat together with the knees. You got inner thighs, serratus working there. Again, ears in line with the spine. Take your inhale. Exhale, abdominals pulling up and in. Again, inhale there. And exhale. Now you're gonna start to let the hips open up towards the floor. Chest comes forward through the arms. Gaze comes forward. Inhale. Exhale again, push down through the forearms, rolling back up, finding your 8-point plank. Level line from tail to crown of head. And then letting it come back down. So from here, you have the option of either going back to your 8-point plank, or you can take it to a forearm plank. So you start the same way, rolling up and through. You pass through that 8-point plank, and then you have the option of floating your knees up. And I always have to kind of walk my toes back under a little. Again, elbows are pushing down. Try to pull that mat apart with them. Make sure the ears are in line with the neck. Make sure you're continuing to breathe. Feeling that expansion of those lower ribs on your inhale, and exhale, feeling your trunk narrow. Let's go one more deep breath here. Lower the knees down if they're lifted, and then go ahead and just walk your knees under and shift yourself back into a child's pose. Just taking in a couple deep breaths. In order to relax the shoulders, if it's more comfortable for you to have the arms down next to the sides on this one, feel free to. And whatever part of your spine or body is drawing your attention, think of directing your breath into that area, feeling it rise on the inhale and fall on the exhale. One more breath there, and then let's go ahead and exhale, roll on up. And then let's go ahead and come to a sideline position. I'm going to start with my right side down on the floor first today. If you prefer a pillow underneath the head, if having this arm long and resting your head on it is uncomfortable on the shoulder, just place something underneath your head. All right, so first bringing my heels back in line with my tail, and then making sure that my pelvis isn't shoved up to my ribs. I kind of move my pelvis away so I'm nice and level through the hips. And then from here, I'm going to go ahead and exhale, spiral my top knee up. And so I feel the back of my hip engage, and inhale, lowering it down with control. So making sure you're staying at a range of motion that doesn't require you to arch your back to take the knee up higher. You're just really trying to let that femur be isolated in its movement in the joint there. Notice if your ribs are popped forward and rein them back in slightly. Go ahead and do just one more there. So now I'm going to go ahead and float my knee and my ankle up and lengthen my leg out long, and so it's the height of the pelvis. Again, ribs are in. You're going to see if you can take that leg, just the leg, so your movement, your axis of movement is down in the hip joint, not above the pelvis, and then taking it down so it just hovers above the floor. And so if I were up against a wall with my back and pelvis, my heel would be sliding up and down that wall. Sometimes a tendency to want to pull our legs forward and use a slightly different muscle group. We want to be feeling this in the outer back portion of the hip there. Let's go ahead and do one more there. And now bringing it to the height of the pelvis, we're going to still see if we can maintain stability through the trunk as we inhale, swing the leg forward, and then exhale, reaching it to the back diagonal. And inhale to take it forward, and exhale to reach it back. Kind of like a swinging door. Go ahead and do one more there. Reach it to the back. And then take a moment just to take your top leg right on top of your bottom leg so they make the same shape. And then taking your top hand behind your head, and then allowing your elbow and your rib cage and your head to roll back so you look to the ceiling. Pelvis is still stacked. And then exhale, think of connecting through your center to come back onto your side. We'll do a couple more like that. Finding a little bit of a pec stretch. And kind of a nicer spine rotation. We've done a lot of spine rotation. but nothing as nice as this one, right? This one always feels extra luxurious. All right, back onto the side and place that top hand on the floor to help bring you back upright. Take a moment grabbing onto your left shin and reaching your right arm up to the ceiling. A little arc to the left as we open up that right side. And then go ahead and stack up nice and tall. Plant your right hand down. Swivel your legs around now to the other side of the mat. And now lying on your left side with the right hip up to the ceiling. Heels are in line with the tail. I'm going to move my pelvis a little bit away so my hips are stacked. And starting with your clams, rotating the knee up and controlling it down. And again, keeping it in a range that doesn't require you to change the position of your low back or pelvis. Couple more like this, just starting to warm the glutes up. All right, so on this next one, we're gonna go ahead and float knee and ankle up and then slide that leg long so it's back in line with the spine. Double check that your rib cage hasn't popped forward while doing that. Start to slide that leg up further, higher than the pelvis without letting the pelvis come up closer to the rib cage. And then going down just to a hover. And again, sliding it up and down. Notice again if your leg's starting to pull forward of the pelvis. See if you can keep it back in line with the spine. One more there, and then just bring it down to hip height. And then we're going to inhale, hinge at the hip to take the leg forward. Exhale to reach it back. Inhale, hinge. Exhale, reach back. One last one here. And now place that top leg right on top of the bottom leg so they make the same shape. You're going to go ahead and take your top hand behind your head and then start to let the elbow and the rib cage and head just roll back to gaze at the ceiling. Hips and legs are still stacked. Exhale, a little work through the waistline to bring you back. And again, inhale and rotate. And exhale and center. One more time. And center. Plant your right hand down, push through that hand, bringing yourself up. You're going to grab hold of your top shin with your right hand as you reach your left arm straight up to the ceiling. Let's arc a little bit to the right, breathing into your left lung. Take one more inhale there and exhale, stacking up. From here, just go ahead and rotate right around onto all fours, pull your toes under. And then let's go ahead and let's actually do a little downward dog. So you can start to lift the hips up and adjust the hands and placement of the feet. And so you're basically in a triangle position here. Ribs are connecting. Knees can be a little bent if that's more comfortable for you. And take a moment just treading through the feet. So one knee's going to bend as your other heel reaches down. You come up onto the toes. The opposite knee bends as you reach the other heel down. You're kind of stretching and treading, allowing the floor to massage out between the toes a little bit there. So now as you do this, you're going to keep treading through the feet, but start to walk them in a little closer towards your hands. And then just let the spine hang over the legs, back of the head, neck long, head heavy. Let's do a little nod yes, a little shake no of the head.
Take an inhale, exhale, lift through the low belly, start to draw the tail under. Feel your feet pressing into the floor as you roll on up through the spine.
That is going to be the last thing to arrive. Take a little shoulder circle up, back, and around. And then just one, taking the shoulders up. And then exhale, just let them gently slide back down. And we will go ahead and stop there. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care. Stay safe.